In this section, I want to talk about holiday lets, in particular the larger holiday lets, in context of their planning usage. Now, holiday lets need to be on, in England, could be on C3, but certainly if they're a larger holiday let, we'd more likely be talking about a sui generis classification. In Wales, they've brought in some new classifications, so be mindful of this, C6 in Wales. In Scotland, again, they've got their own usages. That will be C9. Now, I'm really going to focus in on England for most of these slides. However, in Scotland, there's been quite a few changes. Obviously, last October, they brought in licensing, and watch out, watch this space. It's going to come in England. I think it's only a matter of time. The government have no idea how many holiday lets are out there. They don't know the numbers. They don't know the impact on local areas. So it is going to get licensed. I'm sure of it. In the meantime, Scotland are ahead of the curve. They've already done that last October. So if you are buying in Scotland, you will need to get a license for that property. Now, in addition to that, this is totally independent. There's also a growing number of PCAs. These are planning control areas. Now, as far as I can tell right now, there's only a handful out there. Edinburgh, Speyside are just a couple of them. And these, like I say, they're independent of the licenses. So these give local authorities the control over whether they want a holiday let in that particular area. So essentially, it's a planning application you would need to submit to the PCA to have planning approval for a short-term let, in addition to a license. So you've got two things that you need to sort out if you are now buying in Scotland, and if you happen to be in that particular area where a PCA application is required. In England, if you have 7 beds or more, then lenders are saying that there's a differentiation in terms of the type of classification you want. And generally speaking, lenders will want that to be on a sui generis classification. Now, if you actually look at the planning classification itself, it doesn't talk about beds at all. It talks about the occupants of a property. And so once you go over 6 occupants that are not related, then that's the cutoff to go to sui generis. So that's where lenders, I think, have taken that interpretation to convert that to bedroom. It's a little easier for them to check out from a property perspective. So that's the tipping point. And so if you're buying a holiday let that is 6 beds or less, not only is that a C3 classification, which is what the classification will be on anyway, because that's also domestic dwelling classification. So nice and easy for you guys buying the smaller properties. And that's also where the appetite for lending is. There is more lenders on that side of the line. But we have a significant number of lenders that still have appetite to lend when it's 7 bedrooms or above. But we will need to think about the change of use to sui generis. In addition to that, I know a number of people that are watching this will have on their radar looking at properties that were more commercial, let's say. And I've given some examples on this last bullet point: bed and breakfast, guest house, care homes, to name a few. They will be on a C1 or a C2 classification right now. So again, you will absolutely have to move that across to probably a sui gen classification at some point through the process. So these are the things that, as a landlord, if you're buying these larger holiday lets, you've got to understand: where are we right now? Where do we need to move to? And from a lender point of view, what is their expectation? So to summarize, think about the timescales that are likely to be involved in that change of use. How long is that local authority where the property is taking to get change of use put through? It could be 2 months, could be 3 months. What if particularly if you're talking about B&Bs or care homes, there's likely to be conversion costs. So what's involved in that? Do you have a schedule of works? How's that going to be financed? What's the lender's view on that? Generally, if it's just cosmetic work, they'll turn a blind eye or won't be bothered about it. But if it's more significant, then the lenders may not want to lend on that property until that work's done. And if you're buying it, that means you've got to think of an alternative way of acquiring that property. Same with change of use. Don't assume that the lender will allow you to get the change of use in place on completion. It might be, and this is where, again, speaking to your broker is absolutely crucial, that the lender that is absolutely right for you and your situation and your circumstances with the right rates and for that particular property might be fantastic. However, they may be insistent on saying that that change of use has to be in pre-application. So again, how are you going to secure that property if you've got to move it from C1 to sui generis before you even submit an application to buy the thing? So this is where my last point of 3 possibilities that you can consider in that regard. Great. Have you got the cash to put 3, 4, 500,000 pounds in to buy it? You know, fantastic if you can. Are you already considering joint ventures? Do these guys have the funds to put in all the cash to allow you to buy it? If not, well, bridging is the obvious alternative that will allow you to secure that property, buy you the time then to get the change of use in place. You're also doing the conversion if that's required, and then you're presenting that property with the right classification, with the work done. Bang, there you go, to the lender, and hopefully they will approve it as a refinance to pay the bridging off at that point. So these are things that you guys will need to think about, in particular when you're buying these larger properties. Now, if you want to have a further discussion about anything that we've talked about, there will be a link to our online diary for the company, and you can jump on there, book an appointment, and have a chat about maybe some specific circumstances. Maybe you've seen a property and it might have planning changes that are required. Maybe it is a bed and breakfast right now, and so talk to us at the earliest opportunity so we understand whether it is a 1-step or a 2-step approach to get the finance in place so that you can get that holiday let up and running and enjoy the profits that will no doubt follow.